All right, Matt. I got to address this, and I want to get your opinion on this too. We were talking about E3, and I seen a couple of. At first, I saw something and I let it go, but I've been seeing some rumors about 2K maybe making an announcement about coming out with a football game.
Oh, really?
You know, and announcing something at E3. So I forgot where I saw it first, and then I just had J.P. Davis asked me how do I feel about this rumor that NFL2K may be coming back, and there might be an announcement regarding it at E3. Then, of course, I have Bruce Harmon, sports gamer, saying, please be true, Madden is garbage, Everybody's coming out right now. So So here's my opinion, Matt. And I've stated this for a long time, and I don't understand why people don't take me at face value or don't take what I say as what I mean.
Right.
But I really don't care. Come out with the game.
Right.
Come out with it. I'm hoping, I'm wishing, I will support 2K coming out with a football game.
Right.
I want them to come out. That way I don't have to hear about Madden is garbage.
Right.
You don't have to play it. You can play 2K. I understand where, people who are, who don't like Madden, but it's the only, football game available to them right now. And, they're upset. I get it. I'm not going to argue with you. If that's your opinion, if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But I want 2K to come out. I hope at E3 I hear something that they're announcing a new football game. But I will say this to people. They came out with All-Pro 2K8. They came out with, didn't they have another football game after that? I mean,
sure, yeah.
I think the question is will it be a license, an NFL licensed football game? People want to harp on that, and like I tell people, and you've heard me say this, Matt, if you like the 2K game, there's ways that you can get the updated rosters and play with the real team. So this whole thing about, the reason I don't play, 2K football right now is because it's not an NFL licensed game. What does that matter? All the things that you're complaining about on Madden are gameplay stuff. You're not complaining about, the Jets have the wrong uniform or whatever. So just download a roster and play your football on 2K. I don't have a problem with that. You will never hear me go and say, "Oh, 2K is garbage."
Right.
I don't have no need to. No need to do that. So for everybody wanted to know my opinion on what I think about 2K releasing information about them possibly making a football game at E3, here it is. I'm clapping. I hope it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing. If that was the only thing that was announced at E3, I'd be happy for everybody. I'd be happy for everybody. They wouldn't even have to announce anything else. Just say, you know what, 2K's coming back into football. That's E3. Everybody go home. That's fine.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic and exit the stage. Look, can you imagine that, man, at like a press conference? Let's say it's Microsoft's press conference, or let's say, let's say it's Sony's press conference, and the president of 2K comes out there, and everybody's anticipating.
Yeah.
And all he says is, "We are making another football game." drops the mic,
right.
and just exits the stage. It would be pandemonium. It would be
crazy.
The crowd would go crazy.
People be rioting outside, burning cars up,
Look,
flipping over stuff.
He didn't say anything about there being like an NFL license or it's coming out, in 2 months, or you don't know any details. The only thing that's going to cause mass hysteria is that 2K is making another game, another football game, and people will go crazy. I would go crazy. I
always said we need more football games. The more games we have, the more competition. So
we need.
I've never been a big fan of 2K, and some people can say whatever. I'm like, whatever you like playing it, play it. You know what I mean? I don't criticize anybody else for what they play. If they don't like what I play, I respect that. So if you like something else better, that's fine, but don't play something that you don't like because you feel like you're forced to play. I think just like you said, if some people still argue that 2K, the latest version, is still better than the current version of Madden. And some of those guys are playing Madden. That's what I don't understand, like you were saying, because they have the updated rosters. Just play with the updated rosters, and there are guys out there that still play. So get your fun however you can get it. So I just think there's a lot of negativity in the community, and it's unfortunate. And just like we were talking about that guy with Twitter the other day, and we said something, and he was like, you guys are all on EA's, what, and I was like, no, I just like the game. And he was like, well, I like 2K. I said, well, I didn't say you were on 2K's whatever, right?
Right.
So why do you have to turn around and say I'm on? You know what I mean? Like, we have to get to a point where we start to respect other people's, like, how they like to play or what games they like to play without the critique part of it. That's why we have all these wars in the world today. Like, you can't respect the fact that somebody else thinks something different or likes something different. You have to attack them. You have to criticize them. You have to belittle them. You have to whatever. So, no, I actually love Madden, and I always have, and I always will. Backbreaker was cool. I enjoyed playing that. 2K, not such a big fan, although I love the cool things, the sidelines, the halftime, the berm and all those type of things. I remember one year they had a replay where, you heard like commentation during a replay, and then it was like a slow motion thing, and you could, almost see like telestration, all that stuff. That's hot stuff. EA still doesn't have a lot of that stuff. I agree. But I enjoy the game I play. It's not perfect, but I enjoy it. I don't play it because it's the only football game out there. I play it because I enjoy playing it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we just all need to get along. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously. It just doesn't make any sense for everybody to have all this, hostility. So, I hope 2K comes back. I really do hope it comes back because there are a lot of people that love that game, and hopefully they'll get that game back. I know how it feels now not having NCAA football and wanting that to come back. So, you know what I mean? And not having it and really wanting it, and then, kind of feeling resentment that there's another game out there that you don't like that is there. So it's almost like in your face every year. So I understand that. I just wish we all could, get along. Part of this world, you have to learn that people have different opinions than you, and you don't have to attack them. You just agree to disagree, or you like potato, I like potato. Less filling tastes great. That's cool. Just, appreciate that, move on, and everybody behave like civilized people. That's how I look at it. And there's unfortunately that some people can't do that. But bring back NFL Fever. Bring back, what was that game, Quarterback Club, where you got to do the quarterback drills and stuff like that. That was hot too. NFL Fever, love the jerseys and the detail in them. Man, I'm cool. I'm cool with all of that. Just something that'll push everybody and make everybody work harder to make that game that much more better when when you have that intense competition. So I'll have no problem with that. I'd be happy. And I would be the first one to buy it too, just to support them.
Yeah, and I think that's another misconception is that you think that we wouldn't buy those games. I try to put myself in if the shoe was on the other foot. Let's say Madden was no longer around. Let's say 2K5. Let's say Madden 2005 with Ray Lewis on the cover, which some believe is probably the best Madden, that has been around, especially for old gen. But let's say that was the last game of Madden, and they kept making 2K5.
Right.
Would I still be playing Madden 2005 right now? That's tough. Like that's literally tough. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm glad we don't have to think about that. But yeah. I mean, if it does come out, all those 2K fans, man, you got to buy it. You got to buy it because you got to support that company financially. You know what I mean? You really got to be like, this could possibly be the last game ever. And you got to really buy 2 copies. You know what I mean? You got to do whatever you got to do to have them, to decide to continue. Because if they don't have a lot of sales, then they're not going to justify it. And then, when the suits start to make their decisions, we spend X amount of dollars making this game, this how much we got back. Is it worth doing it again? At some point they said no, even without the license or whatever it was that they came up with. So, support it. Support it. Got to do that.
So you saying that you would definitely, if 2K came out with a game, you would definitely go ahead and support the game?
Yeah, definitely. I would get it. I would play through it, check it out, and then I would write down everything it has that Madden doesn't have, and that would be the next. As soon as I get down to another community day, because that's what we do now. I mean, not just 2K, any game. But in terms of like Madden, commissioner controls, first thing I talk about is we need commissioner sim win, sim loss. Wow, what game has that? NBA 2K.
Right.
Well, they have it. So when somebody else has it, that means that it shows me that they can do it. So you can't tell me you can't do it because it's already been done. It's not like sometimes we think about something and we're like, I like to see it, but I'm not sure it could be done. So maybe that's why they're not doing it, because maybe it's impossible. But when you see it somewhere else, you know what I mean? I mention it to them all the time. 2K, 2K had the sideline, you run out of bounds and, the guys on the sideline grab you and all that stuff. And Madden's got some of that, but it's still not, I don't think it's on the level of 2K. Not yet, but look how long it took them to get that. So if they could do it, it just wasn't a priority. The sidelines and those things obviously are not as high priority as they were in 2K or just, however you list the features out. It just wasn't a high priority. But, so yeah, there's still some things in the game, and we use that any game. We always kind of use like, sim win, sim loss, create a rookie class. I mean, NBA 2K, you can create a rookie class and then draft and then use that in the dynasty mode that they have. And Madden doesn't have that. So I'm like, it can be done. It can be done. So what's the problem? What's the problem? What is it? Is it not a priority or something like that? So I love these other games with these nice features because all we do is just kind of use that when we try to lobby different things and say how important it is, and that's one thing I admire from, for 2K, because they're like if someone at some point, whatever they do, feedback or whatever it is, somebody said, or they thought themselves that when you run a dynasty, you need to be able to throw out scores and you need to be able to, you know, create your own draft class and sim win, sim loss. Like those things, they get that. They get it. And that's sort of annoying when you know, EA doesn't have those things. Because you're like, do you not understand how important it is? Somebody else understands how important it is. You know what I mean? So it's right. I like to see different games. You know what I mean? Just like our boy Mark, Mr. 21215, made the post the other day about some of the things that you can do as a commissioner in MLB The Show that, right, you know, we can do in Madden right now. And so the different multiple commissioners and things like that, and some of those things, and throwing out scores and simming games, just going through the list, and, you know, because you got so many games you have to play and all of that. So yeah, seeing that, it's like, why don't we have those things? Other companies see how important that is. What do we have to do? What do we have to do for you to understand now that these are things that we need to have? And in CFM, if last year there were over 2 million CFMs, almost 2 million CFMs on the 360 and PlayStation 3, not combined but separately, so almost 4 million. So the more control the commissioners can have, the better experience it is for all of those millions of CFMs. So, and millions of people that play. So yeah, I love these other games, man. I like the competition. Borrow ideas, all these different things, whatever it is, use them as lobbying points or whatever. But fight like dogs to make the best one, and we all benefit from it.
Exactly. We all benefit. Everybody, even if you don't like the other game, you want that other game to strive. Now, let me ask you this, Matt. Let me ask you this, and I want you to be very honest with me, and be very honest with the listeners out there. Do you feel that the lack of competition has hurt Madden? I can answer it first if you don't feel comfortable answering it first.
No, I'll answer it. I think if you don't have competition, you just don't feel the pressure of somebody breathing down your neck. So now we know they work long hours, 14, 15, whatever it is, 12, whatever, especially during crunch time they work. We know that. But if you had another game that threatened your very existence, right? If this game outsells you 2 years in a row, then the suit's going to start cutting back and saying, you know what, maybe we just don't need this game. Just like NBA Live. If it doesn't get better, they can't continue to put it out like this.
Right.
Because at some point they don't justify the money that they put into it. If they don't see themselves gaining revenue every year, revenue share, then at some point they're gonna pull the plug. So we want every game, baseball, football, basketball, whatever, to have at least one competitor that it feels like your very existence is, it rests on your performance. And I don't think they have that. They know if it's not that good, come back, I think everybody's dedicated to make it as best as they can, but I think once you have that competitor breathing down your neck every day, and it's a matter of survival, I think you invest more money, you invest more time, you figure out how you can make your game that much better, more icing on the cake. So I can't say that they're relaxing or anything, but I know just like me, if it was somebody in my position where I currently work and they sat next door to me and my boss was like, this person is on your level and you're competing with them for revenue, for pay, for money, for everything else, yeah, I would get there, try to get there earlier than them, stay as late as them, put in extra time, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I think they would go the extra mile, and I think a lot of that would also mean, what is the community like? What do they want? We really need to know what they want. Not we're going to tell them, we're going to tell them what we think they want. I think at that point it becomes real critical in understanding really what your community wants, because you got to figure every little thing that you can get, every little advantage that you can get on the next person. So I don't think that's there. So that's my opinion.
I gotta agree with you. I back everything that you just said up. I totally agree. Like, we know the developers. We know how hard they work. We know that a lot of them want the game to be way better than it is, but sometimes it's not up to them. And see, that's where I think another company being in the midst affects it. Like, another company doesn't affect the developers. Another company making the same, football game affects the suits, which in turn may affect how the game is produced. And you can ask any developer, is the game where you want it to be? They'll all say no. No, we need to do a better job at this. We need to do a better job at that. We need this, that, and another. But unfortunately, the reality of it is a lot of times it's not up. So you need the pressure. You need the pressure to not be on the developers. You need the pressure to be on the suit, making the decisions on what goes into the game and how the game is marketed, and how the game and what the game is going to entail. Because I think that's a big factor too, is how it's marketed. If you have another game that's marketing the game to be the most realistic game you'll ever play, then guess what? That other game has to be like, okay, we have to do the same, or we have to go a whole nother route and say this is the most arcadist game that you'll either way, it's going to force them to make a stance, because there'll be pressure. There'll be pressure on them. There'll be pressure on the suit, and I think that's why I want competition, because, like you said, competition just brings out the best in everybody. Brings out the best in people who are marketing the game, making decisions about the game, even up to somebody like Peter Moore, who probably doesn't make any decisions on anything as far as game is concerned, but might feel the pressure and say, hey, you know what? I just got the latest sales records, and we need to step it up. I don't know what we're going to do, but we need to step it up. But that's why I want another game.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, and just so everybody has more choices, more options.
Yeah, definitely more options, more choices. I think that pressure actually may give developers even more power in terms of what they can do. Or not power, but the ability to put things in the game, to experiment, to try new things and things like that when the suits come to them and say, hey, we're in trouble here. What do you think should be in the game? You know what I mean? What are people saying? So I think right now, just like you were talking about marketing, if 2K comes back at E3, boom, they show some footage at E3, and EA is still on this marketing promotion that they're not going to put as many things out. What if 2K made an announcement like 2 months ago and start putting out screenshots and video? Do you think EA would have changed their marketing strategy?
Yeah.
Competition.
Yeah, they have.
You start bringing shots and all that stuff of 2K looking all good, come and talking about all the features, and EA is like, no, we've decided we're not. No, they're going to change their strategy now, because now, like, okay, these people are getting all fired up. They're like seeing these screenshots. They're getting amped up. They're making pre-orders. Now we got a different ball game. We have a competitor, so now we have to start putting things out too to tell people that our game going to be just as good. So,
right.
I mean, you make a good point about that marketing. I think everything changes with competition. Like right now, you don't have competition, so you could say, you know, we're not posting anything till E3.
Right.
And we're not even going to post that much until Madden comes out. And what?
I mean,
what they going to do?
Right.
This the only
what you going to do?
This the only thing. Right. What you going to do? You going to protest about it? What you going to do? But if there was a competitor, then you got to figure out, are they doing the same thing? And they're not going to put out anything. I'm not going to put out anything. We can do that. But however, they start hyping that game up, getting everybody all amped up, then we got to do it too. That's what I would think.
Right. Definitely. I mean, I can go on for another hour about this, but I think it's, you know, until I hear something, you know, it is what it is. It's a rumor. It's a rumor, and, you know, like I said, I would love to, I hope it's true. I hope it, man, you just don't, I hope it's true. I hope 2K puts out a football game. You know, I hope they, even if they don't even have the NFL license, even if they just say, you know what, we still going to put out a football game. I'm happy.
Put out something. I just think it's interesting that they haven't done some type of downloadable roster update and not even worry that much about gameplay, because the gameplay for people that like 2K was still far superior even a couple of years ago, the last one that came out, to Madden. So all you'd have to do is do some kind of $20 download or something. You get the new roster, and you're good to go. You know, you didn't have to add all these additional things, maybe some rule changes and stuff like that. Somebody do a Kickstarter or something, you know. So I really hope they come. I really do hope they come back. That would be really hot. So, and hope some other companies join in. Hope Backbreaker didn't seem like it was that far off. Just make some tweaks in some of the physics and all that. They didn't have a license either, though. So.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like that's a big thing? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like people are giving 2K a pass because they don't have the license. I don't know. I feel like just because they don't have the license doesn't mean that they can't make a game. They can still make a game. They did it before without the license.
Yeah, I just think it's just better with the license, because you get to put the player likenesses in the game and all that, and you can make the uniforms look close and, you know, okay, because there were some people that were really crafty in terms of graphics, and they created some really nice logos and things like that looked similar. You know, they look halfway legit. So I mean, that's fine, but you want your game, you don't have to do that. You want the rosters, you want to be able to update all that stuff. So I understand that. So, but people are updating those things. So I don't know what the decision was, but obviously that last version wasn't enough. Whatever the performance was, how many they sold, whatever it was, it just didn't justify doing it again. So that means something. That means that if it did well, they would have came out with it again. So I'm not sure exactly what the issue was, and maybe had something to do with sales or something else, or maybe the NFL saying, hey, you know, don't play with the license like that. You know, it's still football. Right. It's football, so we don't like y'all doing that. So don't do it at all. So I don't know how that all, how all that works. So I don't know, but I would think the NFL would want to have multiple licenses. That means you make more money.
Nah, I don't. I see. I want to say it was more of you figure okay, multiple license means more money, but that also means more of the player's time to do certain things. So now you got to send you got all these players got to get their face scanned, and now they got to get them scanned by 2 or 3 different development companies now.
Right. So or they work out something where there's this universal scanning company that just scans them and then provides them to everybody else. So the NFL, contracts with someone that making all the game companies pay. This will be the official head scanning company. They scan, then they distribute it to all the teams. All the teams have to pay X amount of dollars to get that scan, and the photos and all the assets. It's still in one package, just everybody uses the same package. So I mean, it's a way that they could do it, but I think the biggest thing, that people complain about is, EA. They blame EA for, taking a license. But from what I read, even on NFL.com, they decided they were only going to give the license to one gaming company, just like you said. Right. It's more convenient for them to provide all those assets, just like you were saying, to one company. So they put a bid out. EA made the highest bid, and EA got it, or whatever. However they did it, they got it. But EA didn't come to them and say, we want a sole license or anything like that. It was either they were going to get it or they weren't going to get it. And, of course, everybody, who went up for that bid competed for it.
Right.
So, it sounds a little different, like, EA is, stopping everything. It was the NFL. I mean, I read that on the site. It was like, they didn't want to deal with all these multiple entities, just like you were saying. I mean, like NBA Live now. What are they doing? They going to the hotels where the guys are playing in these games and having them come down to a little room with a portable scan. They're like, we're going to get these guys where we can.
Right. We're going to go to these guys and get it.
Yeah, get as many as we can. We invite them down, have some snacks and stuff like that, have them some kind of incentive for them to come down, whatever it is they paying them or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but, what if you don't want to do it? So, so they're going out of their way to get these scans. So, and you're right, if there were multiple licenses, there possibly could be multiple companies. They don't want to share their scanning technology, or the technology is different. But then you got to get your face scan, like, for 2K, for Madden, then NFL Fever.
But
that's
part of the competition. That's part of the competition. You want your scans to be better than the other person's scans.
Yeah, and that's just a whole lot more stuff for the NFL players to do, just like you were saying. Got to do 5 scans this season. Every season they scan. I mean, it's just a pain, to scan them with tattoos and all that. I mean, all this different stuff. So, yeah. So I can understand the single language. I mean, the single license, and I don't blame EA for it. It was the option. It was the only option presented, and they took it, and they got the they got the license. So I don't fault them for that. I know a lot of 2K people are mad for them for that, but you be mad at the NFL.
Right. That's who you should be mad at. Right. Be mad at the NFL for allowing that crap.
Yeah. Send your comments to the NFL. I would let you, love what you guys allow multiple companies to have licensing and figure out a way that it's not inconvenient for you to send whatever the content is that they need to get these pictures and images in the game.